Welcome to the 17th episode of my podcast, Open Conversations. I am your host, Young Bella Sabedwo, and going to be speaking on, you know, more basketball talk, NBA talk, the conference finals, and, you know, a little bit about the NBA draft. To get right into it, the first topic going to be talking about is the Lakers versus Nuggets Western Conference recap of the of the series, and obviously for the series I had picked the Lakers to win the tournament. Picked the Lakers to win the series. Obviously, that did not turn out to be the case. The Denver Nuggets ended up winning the series and advancing to go to the NBA Finals. And like I said, it was a statement series for um, Denver, and Nikola Jokic. Man, he's having a hell of a series. Hell of a playoff run. Um, Dominating every series he's been playing, having a triple double, 20 plus points. Been just unstoppable every series. Been no answers for him, and I expect him to continue dominating as he's been dominating. Like I said, they've been overshadow, undershadow, however you want to say it, throughout the year, and I think that they proved a lot of naysayers wrong, including myself. Like I said, I had picked the Lakers to advance in the series. So, they proved me wrong. I'll take accountability, of course, of that. And, I said it before, even before I made my pick in the last episode, video I made, the Nuggets, it wasn't like it was going to be an easy matchup. I thought the series would go to 7, but obviously they ended up sweeping the Lakers and just dominated the whole series. Um, it was, to me, idealistically, for Denver Nuggets to win that series, they played the way that they needed to play. Jokic dominated. Jamal Murray averaged about 32 points a game. The role players played well. Aaron Gordon, uh, Porter Jr., Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, um, Jeff Green, they all stepped up as well, and it was the needed effort for them to dominate and win the series, and so they did that. Um, I think they've been playing like a team on a mission the whole year, and the league has overlooked them throughout the year, and Jokic, and he's the worst MVP, all this nonsense, worst MVP or whatever. He didn't deserve MVP, all this nonsense. But like I said, they just continue to prove people wrong. It's looking very bright for them, um, as they've just been played well throughout the playoffs. And like I said, I'm expecting them to do that in the next round. Um, in turn, as far as the LA Lakers, um, you know, they overachieved in my opinion to get where they were at conference finals in the West. As competitive that the conference is. Point in time when they were like the 10th, 11th seed at a point in time, I want to say maybe February, January, or something like that. And to make it to the Western Conference, they definitely overachieved. LeBron and AD, you know, It needs to be an applause to, the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows, the changes that were made throughout their season, the injuries, the trades. They had a very bumpy season, and they still prevailed to get to where they were at. It's a big applause as well as to Darvingham, the head coach. He's done a great job, in my opinion, in terms of coaching that team to his best ability. I hope that the Lakers are able to give him, more time as their coach, because I think he's done well. But they definitely are going to need to make some adjustments on that team. Um, add some pieces. Um, you know, I think if the Lakers, um, obviously you want to keep LeBron, you want to keep AD. Obviously they're their foundational pieces, and Austin Reeves has been playing very well. We would like to bring him back. Rui Hachimura played well. Dennis Schroeder played well, hit open shots, played hard. Did what he had to do when he was called to play, when to play. So, would like to have him back. He's familiar with the team, and and how they do things, and so we want to have him back. And uh, you're gonna be questionable about. I think the big question is who you want to run point guard. I think if I'm the LA Lakers as a franchise, the main answer that needs to be answered for them going to this offseason is who do we want to run the point guard, starting point guard for our team. You know, LeBron James, he's obviously up in age. The load to completely, be the lead, facilitator, obviously, and score as well and stuff. That's asked for a lot, considering his age and the mileage on his body. You don't want to run him too down throughout the season. You want LeBron to be available in the postseason primarily. And so they need to figure out where they want to run their point guard from the starting position. I think, you know, in terms of how their roster is constructed, I think Dennis Schroeder will be good coming off the bench. Um, D'Lo, he played well when he was there. I thought he fit, their team well when he was playing. He had some, this past the Denver Nuggets series, he had some, it was a rough series for him. Didn't shoot it too well. He played a lot better in the Warriors series, and so it's questionable because you want, you know, your starting point guard. He's essentially was the starting point guard while he was there. For the most part, and you want somebody like him to step it up. In the postseason, if you know all things considered, I mean, D'Lo is supposed to be likely like your third offensive option, and then maybe Reeves, but it kind of turned out to be Reeves being the third offensive option, and then Hachimura, and then maybe D'Lo. So um, you know, it's a bit questionable. You know, I do think D'Lo's a great player, phenomenal player, but you know that needs to be answered. Do you want D'Lo to come back and still be your starting point guard for your team, and do you think he's going to be able to lead you throughout the playoffs? Something that needs to be answered. And so, obviously you have Kyrie Irving, who's a very there's been a lot of talks of him possibly rejoining with LeBron and playing in LA for the Lakers, and that's all we that'd be a great parent addition. Um, you have Kyrie, you have Schroeder come off the bench. That's definitely very attractive. in my opinion. You know, as I said, you got, you know, D'Lo, who, between Kyrie and D'Lo, you question, wondering whether or not, do you want to spend the money, that max money? Because, Kyrie's going to want that max. You're going to want a extended contract. So you have to answer that. And you get D'Lo for, a lot less than what you will pay a Kyrie. So, um, actually, I think that's the main thing that from the Lakers, you know, answering that question of who you want as your starting point guard, throughout the season to lead you throughout the playoffs, and then probably add a couple other pieces, add some size to the roster a bit. Um, I think would be definitely beneficial. Um, but yeah, man, they they got this far, and they got some good pieces in terms of the Lakers, and I think but they just add some more pieces and stay healthy, and it should be you know be right back hopefully next year. So yeah, next time. Celtics versus the Heat. So this is obviously a current series. You got game 6 being played Saturday, which would be tomorrow. The Heat, you know, started off with the 3-0, um, 3-0 in the series, and Boston has made an emergent winning the last 2 games. So now the series is 3-2. Um, I think the Heat kind of took the foot off the brakes a little bit, kind of been chillaxing, and Boston is stuck, you know, putting themselves right back in the mix, and so um, you know, I think Boston is really trying to uh, make that history, being that first team to come back 3-0 and win a series in the NBA, and they have the talent to do so. Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown, Horford, Smart, these guys, they've been here before. They've had the back end of the ball, and so they kind of know what it's like. So I'm expecting them to come play hard. They got to. They want to. They gotta. If they want to win, they gotta have that mentality. We'll take it one game at a time. Don't get too happy to where you're thinking, oh, we're gonna get to that game 7 and not take care of what's right in front of you, and winning in Miami. So they need to take care of business in Miami. Um, come with a sense of urgency, you know, from the start. Um, it's going to be tough outing, and Miami's not going to back down. They're going to come, you know, guns blazing. Yeah, I'm expecting them to come playing hard, play off Jimmy, you know, all of that. Um, I just think, um, right now, when you're talking about the series, I think uh, the pressure is, you know, primarily still on Boston, but because they one game and they're out, Miami wins, and so pressure's still in the Boston side. I think, um, when it, if they were to win, go to Game 7, then go to Boston. The pressure's now on Miami. You know what I mean? Boston now has, to me, in my opinion, obviously the advantage, the momentum, and so it's going to be interesting, to see. I originally, from the beginning of the series, picked Boston to win, and I'm gonna be a man of my word and stick to it, regardless of, what it is. And I want to be flip flopper and like, stick to Boston, and if he win, they win, and you know they've been very resilient team. They've I know most people didn't expect them to be where they at, but nonetheless they're where they're at, and they're there for a reason. And so a lot of respect and admiration for um, the Miami Heat, because they've overcame and a lot of doubts, and I'm sure that they've throughout these playoffs been the only team to think that they could be in the position that they're at, and it just says a lot about the character and the culture of the Miami Heat and the coaching staff and the organization, and they're a winning organization. They're not a loser organization. It's all the politics of the undrafted or that we don't know. Like, these guys obviously have shown they could play. Gabe Vincent, Drew, Duncan Robinson, Caleb Martin, they've been hooping throughout the season, the playoffs. What do they need to show you? They can play. All this, they're undrafted, don't matter. They're winning games. They're playing hard. They're playing like a team. That's all that matters. All the other stuff don't matter. What's on whose names and stuff is on the paper don't matter. They got, they coming out to play. So, I really admire that about those players, and then the organization itself. So, it's going to be, quite entertaining to see who wins the game. And so I'm going to be looking forward to that. NBA draft lottery, top 3 picks. So, recently they just had the NBA lottery, and I'm just going to do a little quick coverage of just the top 3 teams and, the picks that are being mocked for, the players who are supposed to be going in those positions. And so, right, the Spurs got number 1. Charlotte Hornets got number 2 draft pick. And Portland Trailblazers got the number 3 draft choice. And currently, in terms of the mock draft, you have Victor Wembanyama going number 1 to the San Antonio Spurs, and Brandon Miller going number 2 to Charlotte Hornets, and then Scoot Henderson going number 3 to Portland Trailblazers. This is according to the NBA Draft.net mock draft that I've seen, and I've kind of done, I've seen, highlights, and obviously there's been, dating back to even last season of the NBA of, the Victor Wembanyama and who he is as a player and his talent, and he's a unicorn prospect, without a doubt, very unique as a player. There's been similar size built players like him, but those players who have been similarly built like him don't have the same skill set. And so that's what makes him so unique as a player, is because his size, athleticism, and then his skill set that comes with his size. And that's what makes him so unique. his athleticism, his agileness, um, really make him unique as a player. And I think that's what most people recognize about him. Um, you know, I think he has a chance to be a very unique player and a great player in this league. Just, his main thing would have to be just staying healthy, you know, being committed to getting better, getting stronger, getting in the weight room, and just developing because he has the skill sets and, talents and all that. And he just needs to develop that. The NBA has been marketing him. They want him to be the next. He's one of the main, the next star of this league. And he can be that. I think if he just continues to, get better, stay committed to the craft, he definitely got a chance to be a a superstar in this league, in my opinion. And so, I, I've seen some interviews and videos of him. He seems like a good kid and just a kid who just wants to hoop. So that's the type of mentality that you need, that you want as a franchise, a guy who wants to hoop and be committed to the craft. And so, yeah. And then uh, you have at number two, Brandon Miller. He's supposed to be the guy. I haven't, I was he went to Alabama. Alabama had a pretty good year. He was best player. Didn't watch him too much closely, but I'm aware of who he is, and I've seen the NBA mock draft. His game is very similar to. They compared him very similar to like a Paul George style of play. His game, that's always good. So it's about 6'9", being forward player, and Charlotte Hornets. They could need that. They could use that. You know, to pair. You know, in the front court. There's still. I don't know what they're gonna specifically do in terms of the Miles Bridges situation, but he could be, I guess, the person who comes and fills that role that Miles was playing, or I think it'd be good to have both of them on the team, but the Charlotte definitely needs some size, some scoring on that roster to help with LaMelo Ball. He's a good point guard, great young point guard. To me, one of my favorite guys to watch in this league. LaMelo Ball, super creative, and I just like his energy on the court. And but they need guys that he can facilitate to get easy shots, you know, stuff like that. So they like I said, they need some scoring, and hopefully, if they can get him, he can help with that. And so that'll be a good look. And then lastly, with you know the Portland Trailblazers, the mock's supposed to have Scoot Henderson go go there. Um, obviously, when you're talking about the Portland Trailblazers situation, they got Dame right now at the one, Simons. But there's been talks about, is it time to rebuild for that Portland Trailblazers team? Is it time for Dame to, move on and go to a franchise that's a winning, a championship or bust type of team, like winner now type of situation? And Dame's a winner. I know he wants to compete at the highest level, but he is a um, committed guy, and he's a loyal guy, and I know he wants to be in Portland Trailblazer, but it is a business, and Portland has to make a business decision, and he as well. So, um, do obviously you understand what Dame has done for the franchise. and he's been a Hall of Famer, had a Hall of Fame career, but it's time to rebuild and bring in this new point guard and who can maybe, just give a whole new, start of the future, so to speak, and just rebuild. I think it might be time for them. You know what I mean? This is a good opportunity to rebuild. You have Anthony Simons, who's been in the league for a couple of years. He's showing he can be a scorer in this league, averages 20 points. You got Jeremy Grant, who's been in this league for some time, knows the ropes. You know, you know, can be one of the top, uh, you know, probably with top three scoring options on that team. Um, and got a young nucleus, and so you add Scoot Henderson to add and build for the future. He's a point guard I've seen him play, and he plays with a lot of flair and energy, and I like his style and creativity and all that. Um, so I think it'd be a good time to, finally make that, you know, decision to, start building for the future, bring in Scoot Henderson, maybe trade Dame, get some pieces, get some draft picks, I don't know, and just start building for the future. Um, and I think, to me, that's where the direction I would go, because I don't think keeping Dame around is gonna, they're gonna win, do any damage in the playoffs. At best they make it playoff, play in or something. They ain't gonna really do anything in the playoffs. And so, like I said, it might be that time for them to, rebuild and, start young and, all that. So, uh, yeah, so that's just my perspective. And so we'll see. Draft shit is next month, and might make some more in depth. Just talk more in depth about the draft as it comes. And so, yeah, that's it.